The tennis world has been watching in stunned silence. A 21-year-old from the Philippines has done what no one thought possible. She has won 7 consecutive matches, captured her first WTA title, and sent shockwaves through the Canadian Open. But now, the world number 1 has spoken. And what Aryna Sabalenka just revealed about Alexandra Eala's winning secret has left the entire tennis establishment fearing for the future. Sabalenka, the 4-time Grand Slam champion and reigning U.S. Open winner, knows what it takes to dominate the sport. She has faced the best players in the world. She has conquered the biggest stages. But when asked about Eala's back-to-back victories, the Belarusian superstar exposed something that no one had noticed. Something that explains why the Filipina sensation has become almost impossible to stop. It's not just about power. It's not just about technique. It's about something far more dangerous. Something that has the WTA Tour scrambling for answers. This is the shocking truth about Alex Eala's winning secret, and why the tennis world is terrified of what's coming next. Aryna Sabalenka had just suffered a devastating defeat at the Canadian Open. The world number 1, who had been building momentum for her U.S. Open title defense, was stunned by Ekaterina Alexandrova in the 4th round of the WTA 1000 event. The 7-6, 3, 4-6, 6-4 loss was a bitter pill to swallow for the Belarusian powerhouse. But before the tournament had even begun, Sabalenka had already made headlines with a revelation about her rival. In a press conference that left journalists scrambling for their notebooks, the world number 1 had exposed what she believed was Alexandra Eala's winning secret. She has something that you cannot teach, Sabalenka said. It's not her forehand. It's not her serve. It's her mind. She believes she can win before she even steps on the court. And that belief makes her dangerous. Sabalenka's words carried weight. She had faced Eala before. She had experienced the Filipina's relentless determination firsthand. And she knew exactly what made her opponent so formidable. The irony of Sabalenka's revelation was not lost on the tennis world. Just months earlier, Eala had publicly praised Sabalenka's serve, saying she would steal Sabalenka's serve for sure. It was a compliment that acknowledged the world number 1's technical brilliance. But now, Sabalenka was returning the favor by exposing the psychological weapon that made Eala so dangerous. Alex has this ability to just keep coming at you, Sabalenka continued. You hit your best shot, and she's there. You think you've won the point, and she finds a way. It's exhausting. It's frustrating. And it's why she's winning. The confession sent shockwaves through the tennis community. Here was the world number 1, a player who had dominated the sport with her ferocious power, admitting that she feared something about Eala. It was a moment that changed the narrative around the Filipina sensation. Sabalenka's revelation came as Eala was in the middle of one of the most remarkable runs in WTA history. The Filipina sensation had arrived at the Canadian Open riding a 7-match winning streak that had begun with her historic DC Open triumph. The run had started in Washington, D.C., where Eala had captured her first WTA Tour title. She had defeated a murderer's row of opponents, including Olympic champion Zheng Qinwen, defending champion Leylah Fernandez, world number 10 Alina Svitolina, 4-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka, and world number 3 Jessica Pegula. The final was a masterclass in resilience. Eala recovered from a set down to defeat Pegula 4-6, 6-4, 6-0. The victory made Eala the first Filipina to win a singles title on the WTA Tour. It propelled her to a career-high ranking of world number 20, and it established her as one of the most dangerous players in the sport. But Eala didn't stop in Washington. She carried her momentum to Toronto, where she continued her winning streak with a dominant victory over Alycia Parks. The match was sweet revenge for Eala, who had lost to Parks at the Australian Open earlier in the year. Then came the battle against Caty McNally. The American, who had just stunned reigning Wimbledon champion Linda Noskova, pushed Eala to the absolute limit. The match lasted 2 hours and 39 minutes. Eala had to call for a medical timeout after rolling her ankle in the second set, but she refused to give in. I think I survived that one, Eala said after the match. It was so tough. The victory extended her winning streak to 7 matches. It marked her 3rd straight round of 16 appearance after her Wimbledon run and DC title, and it set up a showdown with world number 14 Belinda Bencic. To understand Sabalenka's revelation, you have to understand what she saw in Eala's game. The world number one had been watching the Filipinas rise with growing fascination, and she had identified something that few others had noticed. She doesn't just hit the ball, Sabalenka explained. She thinks about every shot. She reads the game. She knows where you're going before you do, and then she adjusts. Sabalenka's assessment was backed up by the numbers. Eala had improved to a 9-4 record against top 10 opponents. She had won 5 consecutive matches against top 10 players. She had defeated Grand Slam champions and world number ones. But it wasn't just the wins that impressed Sabalenka. It was the way Eala won. The Filipina had developed a game that was both powerful and intelligent. She used her left-handed serve with precision. She read opponents with tactical intelligence. She handled pressure with remarkable composure. Her mind is her biggest weapon, Sabalenka said. She knows how to handle pressure. She knows how to win ugly matches. And that's what separates champions from contenders. Sabalenka knew this from experience. She had faced Eala before and had seen the Filipina's mental toughness up close. The Belarusian, who had built her career on her ferocious power, recognized that Eala had something she couldn't match. It's not just about hitting hard, Sabalenka admitted. It's about knowing when to hit hard. Alex knows when to attack and when to defend. She knows how to control the tempo of a match. And that makes her almost impossible to beat. The revelation was a turning point in the tennis world. For years, Sabalenka had been the player everyone feared. Now, she was admitting that she feared something about Eala. Sabalenka's revelation didn't just shock the tennis establishment. It spread fear through the locker rooms of the WTA Tour. Because if the world number one was worried about Eala, what did that mean for everyone else? Former pros had already been comparing Eala's star power to Sabalenka's. On the Nothing Major podcast, Sam Querrey, John Isner, and Steve Johnson had openly debated whether Eala had become the biggest draw in women's tennis. Johnson was unequivocal. Yes. Dude, it's crazy. Like in Australia, the court was standing room only. Then, Dubai, standing room only. It's insane. The numbers backed up the claim. At the Australian Open, Eala's press conference had garnered over 127,000 views, while Sabalenka's had received just over 6,500. Eala's pre-tournament press conference drew about 171,000 online viewers, dwarfing Sabalenka's 9,000. But it wasn't just about popularity. It was about results. Eala was winning, and she was winning against the best players in the world. She's not just a crowd draw, Querrey noted. She's playing well right now, too. This is like if she wins a slam. It would be like one of the biggest things in the world. Sabalenka's revelation had confirmed what many had suspected. Eala was not just a flash in the pan. She was a generational talent, and her mental strength was the key to her success. The fear was spreading. Players who had once dismissed Eala as a promising young player were now looking at her with a mixture of respect and anxiety. Because they knew what Sabalenka knew, Eala was not just difficult to beat. She was almost impossible to stop. Aryna Sabalenka's revelation about Alexandra Eala's winning secret has changed the landscape of women's tennis. The world number one has admitted that the Filipina's mental strength is her greatest weapon, and that admission has sent shockwaves through the sport. Eala's back-to-back victories have proven that she is not just a flash in the pan. She is a player who belongs among the elite. She has won 7 consecutive matches. She has captured her first WTA title. She has reached the round of 16 of the Canadian Open, and she has done it all with a composure that belies her 21 years. When I'm on the court, I'm not thinking about the ranking or the pressure, Eala said after her victory over McNally. I'm just thinking about the next point. That's what helps me stay focused. Sabalenka's revelation has confirmed what Eala's fans have known all along. The Filipina sensation has a mental toughness that is unmatched. She doesn't panic when things go wrong. She doesn't doubt herself when the momentum shifts. She simply adjusts and executes. I think that's what scares people, Eala admitted. They know I'm not going to give up. They know I'm going to fight until the very end. And that's hard to face. The fear has spread through the WTA Tour. Players are now looking at Eala and seeing a champion in the making. They are seeing a player who has the mental strength to overcome any obstacle. They are seeing a player who is almost impossible to stop.